What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Read Reviews podcast, where we talk about movies, TV shows, video games, and pretty much whatever the hell we want to talk about. Cody, welcome back. It's been a minute, I think, right? It's probably been like 10 days since we did the last one.
Yeah, a little over a week or something like that.
Yeah, what you been up to? You doing anything exciting or no? You
no,
running?
I mean, yeah, when I can, and just, no, not much. I'm just working.
I haven't done shit. Went to a wedding, and I've been working.
Yeah.
That's it. I got nothing exciting. I did see How to Train Your Dragon also on top of the movie that we're going to talk about.
Oh.
But we could talk about How to Train Your Dragon real quick, because all I'm really going to say is it's the same movie, and it's good.
Sweet.
Like, it's really, like, I think the acting performances are really good. They do a couple of, like,
I heard it's a little longer, but I think...
It's like 10 minutes longer.
I think...
Yeah, they do some equality stuff, like some... I don't know, like, what's the right word? Inclusivity stuff, where, like, they make Vikings black and
nice
and stuff, like the Asian and different ethnicities.
Why not?
And they explain in the beginning by just saying, we are the greatest warriors from around the world that come to fight the dragons. But then they call them all themselves Vikings, so it's like, whatever. Whatever. That's how they explain that the main girl in the movie is black. When usually before she's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Viking. No, it didn't bother me. Really, I don't give a shit. It is just kind of like, why do you do that? But whatever, here we are. And the movie was still really good. Looked amazing. The score was amazing. Me, even having watched the original pretty recently, like, I couldn't really tell what the major differences were. So it was... And honestly, there's not much to say about it, but I like it more than any of the other remakes that come out. Because all the other remakes just fuck stuff up.
I was just going to ask, and I felt like I knew the answer, but, like, it was better than Lilo and Stitch then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would still give... Because How to Train Your Dragon, the original, the first one and the second one are, like, really good. And the third one's, like, pretty good.
And they're, like... Yes, they're kids' movies, but they're still, like, older kids' movies.
Yeah.
Right? Like, as opposed to Lilo and Stitch feels like still very, like, younger kids. It can be at times.
Yeah. They try to add more adult themes in the live-action one, but they always have those kind of undertones. It's very about a father-son relationship. And
but they're advertising on the...
That's your cup. I was going to say what we were paying for our tickets. I was like, you got the cup for the movie that I saw just recently.
Yeah.
But I liked it. There's not much to say about it. I'd say this is probably a 8.5, and the original movie is like a 9.5. It's like top tier. It's like awesome for me. The music, the flying scenes.
Yeah. I feel like that's a valid thing to do too, where it's like, with the live action stuff, it's like, it's good. It is like the original, and it did what it did. The original's still better, but this exists, and it's not the worst thing ever.
It was fun to see DreamWorks take on them finally, now that like Disney's come out with so many. At some point they got to get this. Shrek will be coming soon, I'm sure, but that'll be horrible. That'll be terrible. Luckily we got Shrek 5 before we got any live action shit coming out.
Yeah, we'll even see how that goes.
But DreamWorks did it, and they're like, we're just going to make it like the original. And they did, and I liked it, and I went and paid money to go see it. So they did what they were trying to do.
No.
But that's really all I have to say about that. Let's talk about the main thing that we're talking about, which first I want to talk, because I didn't know this going in. I want to talk, do you know, Cody hasn't seen the first two movies, like at all?
Of
28, the 28 series.
Yeah.
The movie that we went and saw.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to call them. 28 Days Later series?
Isn't it days, weeks, and now this is years?
Yeah, we skipped the month one.
Yeah.
We skipped that part.
Fuck months.
So you haven't seen any of these?
Nope.
He told me this in the theater when he sat down. He's like, should I watch these? I was like, I mean, yeah, but... Because they're awesome, but I don't think you'll really need to know. There's little things. They're very little things.
You guys answered a couple questions I had coming out where I was kind of like, how would they know that? But aside from one or two little things, I felt like as a newcomer, you definitely you don't need to see the others.
Felt all right as a standalone.
It was very much just like, it's a movie about like slice of life in the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, I'm interested to see our opinions on it when we get into it a little bit more, because I wonder if it made it even... It's relative, but we'll get into it. But like worse of an experience for me because I saw the other ones and I was like expecting it to be more connected, I guess, but like it wasn't. But even though the first one and the second one also aren't very directly connected, I don't know. It was weird. So we'll talk about it.
I looked up stuff like online, and I had seen on Reddit and stuff like people were talking. Majority of people were saying like, "Oh, first one's amazing. Second one, no."
It's an action movie.
Yeah, they were like,
Jeremy Renner, Idris Elba's in it. 2007.
Okay,
yeah.
So I knew people felt really good about the first one, loved it. Were a little mixed on the second one, but still like you had people who really liked it and some who were like, "Hell no, it's nothing like the first. How good the first one is." But yeah, coming into this, I really didn't know much else other than I knew it's zombies. Like, and they do actually call it, at one point in the movie, a dude calls them a zombie, as opposed to, like, it's called the rage virus.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a hot second, because it's really funny, because I was watching, like, the directors and, like, snippets and, like, quotes. I was reading and watching some, I don't remember exactly where I got it from and when, but it's been over the last week, where they said, and I hate when they distinguish these things, it's like, they're fucking zombies. Why are we doing this? Like in The Last of Us, when they call them infected, they're not zombies. They're zombies. They are mad people that have gone insane and are trying to eat you. That's a zombie to me. We don't need to do these classifications, but technically they're not zombies in this. They're infected. They have the rage virus. You don't have to shoot them in the head in this. You just have to kill them. You can shut them down. You can kill them with chemicals. You can kill them. They're basically you can still kill them like a human, but that just makes you rage, literally the name of it, and makes you go insane and basically berserk and then eat people.
Yeah, I guess.
And it spreads, and you turn in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, they did show the beginning of the movie. I really liked. I think most people will probably like that hot start that they hit you with, of kind of like
it was just clips of the other movies.
Like, I was sitting there, I was like, this is sick. Well, okay, cool. Like, we're going hard on, like, kids getting smoked by fucking zombies and stuff, and, like...
Oh, you're talking about the Teletubbies.
Yeah, like, that part, and, like, you just get to see, like, a little bit of the chaos around, like, what would be so scary in a zombie apocalypse. Just, like, I could never imagine being in, like, my house with my family, and then it's like, this shit happens, and you're still in your house. These are
the scary ones, too, because you turn... This is, like, these are probably known for being the zombies that turn you fastest. Like, it literally, they bite you, and you throw up, and then you're a zombie, and you're a rager.
Yeah, like the kid watches his mom turn right there, basically.
Yeah, and then they run. They don't walk, so they're not slow zombies. They're not easy to kill.
Yeah, unless they're fat.
Yeah. Well, those are new for this movie. I've never seen those before, and I don't understand. We'll get into that stuff. Let's start, because that stuff is weird. But let's start with, like, just kind of your overall thoughts on the movie, and how you thought of it as a movie, and kind of what you thought of it as a zombie movie. Because I was telling you right when the movie was starting, the original is, like, known as, like, one of the greatest zombie movies. Like it is top tier. I wanted to say this real quick, because it had a $8 million budget. And was, like, filmed on super cheap cameras, and they, like, had to film at, like, 4:30 in the morning, the empty streets of London, to get some of these shots and stuff, because they didn't have the budget to, like, rent out space. So it's really cool, and those are just cool stories. $8 million budget, $82.2 million box office. So that's a 10x, which is fucking
nice.
Like, that's a steal.
That's sick.
They did real well. But yeah, what did you think about this movie?
I enjoyed it. Yeah. I thought it was pretty tense throughout most of it. There's definitely like solid 3 acts, I felt like, to it. Act 1, you get father-son time. Act 2 was got to toss a wrench in the system, like
mom-son journey.
Yeah, like kind of the son's real start of the son's
full
arc.
Spoilers.
Yeah, always. 100% full spoilers. The kid figuring more out about his mom and dad's scenario and situation, where the dad's
us too.
Yeah, truly, and the dad is clearly, like, clocked out on the mom, and is just kind of like, well, she's sick. I don't really know how to fix her. Or he 100% doesn't. Like, now that you know, or we know, like, what she had, I'm sure he knew and was like, she's uncurable, basically.
Yeah, I think
it was like, we can't cure what the mom has, and it's impossible, but he's also caught by his own son, which he doesn't realize. He sees him, like, just going to town on some chick in the alleyway. Yeah. And so
dudes don't get their dick sucked anymore. Girls just get their pussies eaten.
Yeah, just going full bore under the skirt there. So, yeah, that starts off the son's arc of he wants to fix his mom, and he's figured out there's a doctor somewhere and whatnot. And then Act 3 kind of taking into a lot of the son's, like, he learns truths and things and has to make his own choices about what comes next for his life. And actually seeing that into what is clearly probably multiple movies, like you were saying.
And I didn't remember that till the end, so I was confused as fuck too with the very end. And I was like,
ending goes wild.
even without knowing that there's other movies, the ending is still like the music, the campiness.
Tone,
I was like, we're watching a completely different movie.
Complete tone shift in every possible way.
I felt like we were in Saints Row or something. Like, I don't even know.
Crazy.
Saints Row or something.
Like Mad Maxy vibes and stuff. Just like really crazy. What is going on?
It came from such a somber, like, serious tone
I can't say I didn't enjoy it though. I had a good time with it. I will say by the end of it, I thought I was actually going to hate it, but I was kind of like, you know what? I was laughing and having a good time. And as someone who probably didn't watch the others or has no clue what's going on, you get a little bit of the reveal of who these people are, which you still don't really know because it's only connected to the very first scene of the movie. And you haven't watched this, kid.
Yeah.
But like, just super, super, it does feel out of place. Like, but it's a zombie movie at the same time, so I can't fault them for being like, and here we go.
That's what it felt like. It felt like Dead Rising.
Yeah, like
that's what that felt
just
like.
some super slapsticky, ham-fisted, like we're going full, like you want some crazy zombie, like gory action in like slapstick ways, basically. Here you go.
Yeah.
Wasn't necessarily asking for it because the entire rest of the movie is very grounded, 100% like the whole idea behind you're seeing a ton of this community's way of surviving in the quarantine zone where no one goes in and no one comes out. Well, certain people go in if they are stupid and like accidentally happen to get stranded there. But like there's also people like other countries patrolling around the area and the water, and like I think that's kind of an interesting concept of I don't know how much of the other movies describe like what's going on with that, but
this is why I'm confused. So I'll get into my thoughts on it. I thought it was good. I honestly thought this one was going to be a shoo-in for a great movie for me, and maybe that's why it came out a little bit lower. That's always bad whenever you do that. That doesn't work out very often unless it's like fucking Avengers Endgame or something. But I went in going like, this is a minimum 8 out of 10 movie for me without even going in and watching it, just because I know the other ones and I like them and I know who's involved with this movie. Danny Boyle, I think, is the director, and Alex Garland as the writer. However, they came into this one because they were from the other ones. And so this movie's probably more like a 7.5. I still enjoyed it. I had a good time watching it, but I'm just confused because it seems, and this is gonna be hard for you because you haven't seen him. But so the first movie is the Cillian Murphy one where like he wakes up out of a coma, full on Rick Grimes style, and it's 28 days later after they break out, and it's him going around discovering it, finding people. It goes in and culminates at the end, and then like the very end of the movie, he looks up in the sky and sees a plane flying through the sky, like a commercial plane, as if like the rest of the world is still functioning normal and everything's been isolated to England.
Oh, okay.
The second movie, which is where things get really weird, is 28 weeks later. They say that the intro of it is like, broke out in England or whatever. 28 days later, blah, 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 this stuff happened. And then he kept going, and then everybody got infected. And then the zombies died off of starvation, so there were no more zombies. And so they started moving people back in. And lo and behold, of course, there was another zombie that somebody got, and everybody in the zone.
They weren't all gone.
Yeah, but it's an action movie, like I said, with Jeremy Renner and Idris Elba in it, and so it's like it's a lot more actiony, still horror-y and scary, still a really good movie. I think a good zombie movie, but it feels like they retconned it because at the end of 28 weeks later, the final shot you get is of the zombies, some infected running under the British Channel, because there's an underwater tunnel that connects them.
Sure.
And they run across. You didn't know that? It's kind of cool. They have a full underwater channel.
Not versed in my UK knowledge.
Anyways, they run under the channel there. The last shot is them running out into Paris, and that's where it just cuts off to the music. Nice. And so the insinuation you'd have with that is that it's spreading everywhere else. The intro to this, I think, makes it seem like they just retconned that movie because they're just like, it started, the European forces just ended the virus and everybody's been quarantined to England.
This is like at the text part where it was just like telling us
the 3 sentences that we were talking about on the escalator.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so the end of that movie was just kind of pointless to show us that shot. They just clearly wanted to retcon this and restart and start a whole fucking trilogy, which of course they got to do a cash grab, which this whole movie just feels like setup. Not to say that that's necessarily bad, but it's just it's pretty draining when like most of the movies you go and watch now is like, okay, so now I have to wait 6, 7, 8 years before I get to watch all of this. I don't just get to watch a movie.
That's where that ending scene feels really just like pushed in because it is totally a segue into like where we're going next.
Yeah.
But it's like this doesn't fit.
But it doesn't, and it feels, and it's such like an ending point when he's doing the VO of like, hey, I'm on my own. I'm gonna go out here and discover stuff and learn stuff, and then maybe we'll get to see more factions and see where the story goes from there and whatever. And then all of a sudden things just go off the wall with the jumpsuit goofy goober motherfucker Teletubbies jumping off the wall.
Yeah, going wild.
I'll tell you what. Like we were talking about. I think his name's what's his name? His name's Alfie something. The boy, the
Alfie
kid actor,
Williams.
Alfie Williams.
That's him.
I
Yeah,
wanna see
he
what
looks
he's in.
familiar from something else.
He does. He's got to only be like.
Yeah.
But anyways, what I'm getting at here is Cody and I both agree and already talked about this. He is fucking awesome. This is one of the better.
I really like this kid.
This is one of the better child performances that I've seen in a while because you know it's good and it's one of those things where like you don't really notice it in the moment or until you're done if you think about it because in the moment you're just like, oh yeah, I'm just bought into everything that's happening.
Yeah.
And then after you're like, holy shit, that was like a fucking 12-year-old that just did all that. And usually you think about other kid actors, like even the Stranger Kids actors who I thought are actually good. Even in the beginning, I'm like, okay, we're like, you know, you're trying to kind of like nail this line here, but you feel all the emotion, you feel the sadness, the anger, the intensity. Holy shit, did this movie make you anxious in so many scenes? And I think that's what the 28 Days Later series is great at. Constantly anxious, constantly like, what the fuck's going to happen? And it matters because there's a different cast and crew in all these movies. It just picks up with completely different people every time. Okay. So you don't really know who's going to die and who doesn't die. Like, there are stakes, and I love that because, like, I talk about this all the time in Marvel movies. Dying or characters being in trouble doesn't mean anything because they'll either come back from the dead or they won't die because you're not going to kill this person.
Plot armor exists in like anything if if anyone likes a character enough. They can just be like, okay, we'll figure out a way.
But in this, I didn't know who the fuck was gonna die or where anything was going. Like I for sure thought that what's Voldemort's name again?
Ray Fiennes. God, yeah. I don't know how to find the pronunciation of his name either because it's not gonna look like that.
Either way,
I thought right though, Voldemort.
Yeah, I thought he was dying for sure too because again, I didn't remember that this was a trilogy until the end of the movie because I'm like, I feel like we just left a lot of things very open and then opened a whole nother flood with the jumpsuit dudes at the end. I also thought the Swedish dude was kind of pointless and dumb. Like he seemed like he came in for comedic relief like the whole time, all of his lines basically.
Yeah,
until he panics about the zombie baby, which was weird for him to call it a zombie baby considering we like specifically designated these as infected.
I think maybe that makes sense from a perspective of like his whole thing is that's the like you're getting the interaction between someone in the quarantine and someone outside. So they're like he's first time this kid is Spike is like the main kid's name. The first time Spike sees like a smartphone and he's just like, whoa, what is that?
He's like, it's about to be a brick.
Yeah, and then actually like one of the like funnier, lighthearted moments of him commenting on like his girlfriend and her like super Instagram model.
It was very funny, but it felt very out of place because it was the only time there was comedic stuff in there.
Yeah,
so I was like, this is weird. But it is funny.
It was okay because it was during the time when they took a break, and I was like, I think I'm more surprised. You're right. Me going in with straight up zero expectations of like I'm just kind of here to watch this.
Yeah.
I ended up really being along for the ride. I think a lot more, and in a good way, where I just kind of let stuff happen. And even when like, to be honest, not like a ton of zombie action in comparison to like the runtime. I don't know how long it is. Is it like 2 hours?
It was an hour 56.
Okay, yeah, right around 2 hours.
Hour 55.
And there's definitely really good zombie action. I think it's another like when you are getting like kills and stuff, it's super good. I actually really liked all that. But they do a ton of the human characters. Like you really are going to spend time with them and learning about them. And it comes to the point where like the end of the movie, there's not a lot of anything other than them talking and hanging out, like with the Voldemort character.
Yeah.
But I actually found myself not like I think I'd expect myself to be like, oh come on, more like, well, what are we doing here? But I think I was pretty surprised by the way they set up like the set of everything, how it looked.
This movie looked awesome.
Oh, it definitely looked really good. It's
another one of those things where they're like, we shot this on iPhones, but they're using like crazy lenses on their iPhones and like bumping them up, and that's like the selling point. There were some points where it was really blurry and I was confused. And
they did heavy depth of field stuff with the blur on like the outside edges and things, and just like all the. Either way, and they made it look super cool though. Like it was very interesting to look at, and also I will shout out like sound design and music was doing a ton of work in this one. Anything from when they are in the room at the beginning with the zombie hung upside down, the amount of times you can hear the bag on its head that's
Oh my god,
with
it was
blood
so
in
loud.
it because it has blood
Yeah.
in the bottom, and that's the only thing I could hear. Every time it would shake, you can just hear this blood bag of its own
Or
blood.
just the drops.
And it's just like that kind of stuff really gets to me nowadays more, but it like really good effect when used well in with what's happening on screen where it's already pretty fucking gross.
Yeah.
And you add that on top, it's like now I'm sitting there in my seat and I'm like, man, this is disgusting. This is really gross. I don't like this.
Yeah, there is a lot of unsettling stuff in there, and that's what these movies are known for too. Going back with a little bit more retcon stuff too is that, so like I said, the zombies are supposed to die of starvation. Like, that was the whole point of the second movie. Like, they cleared out because the zombies die.
I've never heard that one before.
I know. Well, that's the thing is, like, the infected bullshit that I was telling you is, like, they're still human. They're just infected with rage. So, like, they just want to spread it by eating this. Once they spread it to everybody and there's nobody else to spread it to, there's nothing else to eat. And what they eat or whatever is humans. And so they starve out. Or they starve to death. They clearly don't starve to death because this is 28 years later. And in that, they die and they starve to death in weeks. They have several different types of zombies now. I don't understand like why there's fat ones or whatever. Not that I really need that explained, but they were so gross and unsettling.
Very disgusting.
I hated them so much.
They just like army crawl at you and they're really gross.
Yeah, and
then
like there's
slimy, always very slimy.
And then there's the normal ones, which are all the other ones, the runner ones.
Yeah, just running at you.
And then we got Mr. Dong Shalong,
the alpha,
Big Dangle.
The absolute. They call him the alpha.
Yeah, they call him the alpha.
But
there's a lot of dong and a lot of
he even has a real name though. That goes by Samson.
Samson,
because he's been in the area for a while and the doctor knows him.
Yeah,
kind of.
They end up killing the other one.
I would know that one though. Like you would know Samson. Yeah. Dude's got an absolute piece on him. There's a ton of nudity, like a ton of zombie dong and boobs and
a lot of naked zombies.
Weird, like pregnant stuff too. That's definitely like a huge thing we haven't talked about yet because it's just kind of happens and it's like
tell the folks about it. Cody, what happened? What was that scene?
Yeah, like there's.
Because I was like, what is happening?
At one, I mean, the kid and his mom are trying to find a doctor, and at one point, they hear something in the woods of the forest. The mom kind of wanders off. They also have Soldier Boy with them, who's just kind of there because he doesn't know what to do. And Eric, the first time he said it, definitely did not. Yeah, I was like, that's not a name. Definitely not. But they like find an old abandoned train on the train tracks, and the mom is just kind of like wandering. She's a little delirious at like all times and is kind of going in and out of her own consciousness. And
there's a sick mom with cancer who is mentally fucked up that
it's
the
like
kid's trying to save and get her.
She's always having episodes and things, but like she just wanders off and finds this pregnant zombie in the bus or the train and
in labor.
And that's like she's not attacking her, she's screaming because she's literally having the baby. And then they proceed to, like, the mom is definitely having some maternal connections with her or something and puts her hands up, and then the zombie girl puts her hands on her and they kind of clasp in the moment of, like, pushing. And then...
This sounds fucking insane if you're saying
yeah, dude. And then she's pushing. She actually helps pull the baby out and deliver it. The kid comes in with the soldier. They cut the umbilical cord. And they have a newborn, which... it does look like a regular human baby, and so it doesn't look messed up. It does look pretty clean, and they wash it off really fast, and then pretty immediately after that, the zombie just goes straight to like freaking out and is gonna kill them, and then the soldier immediately lights her up, which good, that's what should happen. But then he kind of freaks out, and he's like, fucking put the zombie... This is where you hear him the first time say, put the zombie baby down.
It's the only time zombie said it.
And that's how they address that, I guess.
Fucking zombie baby.
But he's from outside, and I think it could make sense that, like, people would... If you weren't in it and you didn't, like, see it often, you'd be making weird, like, fantasy... like designs of what this quarantine zone looks like. You'd call it zombies, I'm sure, from the outside, I think.
Yeah. It was a weird scene, man. It was weird.
And in the end, he gets smoked by no other than Samson Man.
Samson.
Big dong on him, literal baby.
Dongatron.
Like, you're seeing that. I was telling you guys where I'm like, it is distracting. Like you
It is
will,
distracting.
you will be watching for it on the screen.
Like
I hate
the
saying
Nosferatu dog?
because it's gonna hit you hard when you see it. You're like, whoa,
It is flopping, and it is
whoa.
it is a monstrosity.
Yeah,
'Cause this dude's like 7 feet tall.
He's huge. Like the dude is a freaking unit.
There's super zombies.
It's
that
got
are,
like
intelligent.
it's got to be a fake prosthetic one that they're just plopping on there. There's no, I doubt that that's real.
Yeah, no, it's fake.
I
sure.
doubt
It's
that.
I think all the nudity in it was fake.
Pretty
'Cause
much.
The her pregnant belly and her boobs and stuff like that all looked fake too because it didn't move.
Yeah, it's all pretty much like it looks like prosthetics and makeup for almost all of it. So
Yeah, prosthetic dong.
Yeah,
They just glued a dildo on his crotch.
It's pretty funny. It cracked me up like the whole time.
Another just jarring thing. There's a lot of jarring stuff in here, whether from the dong that is like distracting while you're trying to watch intense shit happening, or a lady bonding with a zombie baby a zombie lady who's having a baby and then it attacks her still. Because they're like trying to insinuate that the zombies still have some sort of intelligence.
Yeah, there's
which they kind of do in the other movies.
The moment when they're holding hands, they like are making eye contact, and it's like a weird like, what is happening? What's going on? But hey, I haven't lived through the zombie apocalypse, so I wouldn't know.
I thought Aaron Taylor Johnson did a good job.
Yeah,
it wasn't anything too crazy. I think the mom did a good job. I think all the performances were good in this movie except for the Alfie dude who fucking killed it. So shout out to that kid because that kid's gonna be doing some stuff. Yeah. Well, I guess he's got the next 2 movies of this.
Yeah, seriously. So, well, they definitely had to choose correctly, but just knowing he has like all this, not all, but pretty much most of the screen time of this movie.
He's the main character.
He is the main character.
Like
you get a split between him being with the dad and then him being with the mom.
Which I didn't expect that at all. The trailers don't really give away much. They're very like sporadic.
Yeah, the trailers did good of keeping me of like what's like the point of the movie other than knowing it's zombies. Like what's the goal that's set out here? And I actually really liked because I like uncomfortable scenes, but like when Spike the kid has to confront his dad about having seen him go down on the chick in the alley. Even though he doesn't explicitly say it, he definitely like gets to the point of being like, I know shit and you need to stop fucking around. And like it gets really heated really fast, but
it just socks him in the face.
It's kind of like, that's like the spark is he addresses the fact that when they were out on mainland, him and his dad, they saw a fire out in the distance and he's asking about it with someone else, mentions the doctor, the kid gets curious thinking there's a doctor somewhere, he could help our mom. Asks his dad and kind of knows already, like, why didn't you tell me about this? And he's like, who have you been talking to? He's like, oh, it doesn't matter, basically. And then immediately just a backhand right on his cheek. Kid freaks out, runs up to mom, and is obviously super scared and, like, probably hasn't been hit like that in a little bit, maybe, or at least it or ever, because the kid was fucking scared. Like he cowers back to the door, immediately runs up the stairs, slams the door, and then the dad completely knows like, oh, I just fucked up. I went way too far. Goes upstairs. The kid reacts by like shoving him out the door, and then takes his knife out.
Yeah.
And the dad immediately dads up and is like, just without hesitation, takes it out of his hand, puts it up, and is just holding it, and you like watch him white knuckle it for a second, and he gives it back.
Yep.
And then another, like, just those little moments as the dad's walking away, he just fucking punches holes up in the top of the drywall above him going down.
He's a little pissed
off.
off.
That's, like, just, he handled it in the way that obviously he overreacted, but then he came back and kind of, like, contained to make sure things are okay as much as he could without overreacting again. But it's, like, too late, and the kid has already made his choice now. And it's, like, that's the thing that set the kid off to be like, I'm done with this shit. I'm going to go fix mom. And we're going to get this done ourselves.
Which, like I said, there's always somebody that fucks some stuff up. And again, forgot that this was a trilogy until the end of the movie. So I didn't pick it up while I was watching this. But I was like, I leaned over to you and I was like, these movies always have one person that fucks everything up. He leaves nobody on guard. He goes out there with his mom. They have to come back and save him. Somebody's going to get infected and come back, which I like that they subverted my expectations. I should have known that just because of the trilogy thing like I was talking about. Because like that wouldn't all go down. I guess maybe it could have, but this is the smallest story that a 28 Days Later movie has had, because usually it's always like the first one is like Cillian Murphy's story and going through and seeing everything and like the fall of everything, and it's like a lot more people involved. The only people that are really involved in this story are the kid, the old guy, the mom, and the dad. That's it. It's really them. They're the only ones that are affected by anything and see anything and like go through stuff. Yeah. Everybody else in the town, it's like, oh yeah, there's one kid and his dad are kind of having some issues, and they take his mom.
Yeah.
And so other than that, nothing else really happens. Like you don't see anybody turn except for in flashbacks. Which is weird.
I don't know why I just thought of it now.
That's not true. There's just soldiers.
I do like how they would do certain scenes to kind of parallel, like, hey, you might be living at home in like the safe area of the quarantine zone, but at times during that party, it just gets like kind of crazy, and they have like the person in the weird mask.
I was gonna say there's weird stuff going on around town.
But like it gets a little culty, and it gets a little like to the point where the kid's looking around, and he's like, whoa, like just the parallels between even the Voldemort character like kind of comments on it when he's walking with the skulls of like, it's like human skulls, like the infected and the humans, like we have more in common than you'd think type of a sentiment of like, sure. You kind of like, there's always that, I feel like, mode they go to if some character has to be like, oh, well, as crazy as they seem, they're just being like primal instincts.
But
like
also, you're just being fucking crazy.
Yeah.
This is weird.
But they do like a lot of stuff to kind of be like, hey, this would be a cool home and it would be nice to have a safe place, but like coop people up long enough in a spot like this, shit would get wacky really quick.
It always does.
It would. And I like seeing that at times where even the kid who's young is just kind of like, what is happening?
Yeah,
what's going on?
Yeah, there's the religious things, there's the weird mask things, all the medieval ties with those jump-ins and those cuts. I was like, this is weird.
Yeah, back to like old school like British cavalry like fighting.
They're showing the kids training on the island and learning how to shoot, and they're showing even the old guys when they're shooting down the alpha and just showing them shoot. They're cutting in between while they're drawing back to medieval time people shooting bows and arrows and stuff. I'm like,
like castle sieges and stuff.
Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck's going on here?
I didn't mind it. It was
cool.
It
didn't bother me. I was just like, whoa.
I think it makes sense with just like knowing if society had to regress into a way, we would definitely resort back to just doing the same things again and in similar, just different ways.
But it's so weird to think about just there being normal people on the outside. Just the Swedish guy who's just like, you don't know what a radio is. You don't know what a phone is. You don't know what a delivery driver is. You don't know what.
The kid does feel kind of like that soldier dude does feel weird at times, but I don't mind it because I like having a character interact with it. I actually feel like that was a good plot point for me to have as this being my only movie, where it's like, what did people think on the outside? Like, is this just like fucked up for them, or do they know? And it's like, I mean, based off what he says, it's just like, no one's gonna fucking come here. We know that. Like, absolutely, like if you come in, you ain't coming out. Like, sorry, you're fucked. Like, I'm fucked either way. So, but there was a lot happening at times, and then it keys into like cool ass zombie shit. They do crazy stuff when they hit him. Also, bow and arrow kills are always sick.
They're doing bullet time with the bow and arrow kills.
They do fucking crazy.
Them and then they're cutting to the back, right?
Like you see the back end now.
Splurts of blood every time. It's very bloody.
You get like 10 of those or something, and I loved every one of them. But what was I gonna say? Fuck.
Just cool things that you're seeing in it.
I don't know. I thought I had something, but either way,
you got nothing. Yeah, it was a pretty good movie. I'm glad I went and watched it. I just cannot believe, like, having watched all these movies in just the last week, I've just been so anxious because you're sitting them and you're clenched all the time. And I'm like, oh fuck, what's gonna happen here? What's happening here? I'm stressed out. I'm about to get scared by something screaming, yelling. I think they build retention really well in these movies. Mm-hmm. Not that you would know. You should go watch the other ones now. Go check them out.
Well, this one was good.
Dude, the first one's actually pretty long. I think the first one's like 2 hours and 20 minutes or something like that. Like, it's pretty long. The second one's also under 2 hours, I think. But yeah, it seems weird that they just kind of retconned that. I don't know. Maybe that's not even what they did. Maybe I'm just misunderstanding. I'm going to dive in like I always do after watching stuff. That's the whole reason why I started this podcast, because I love going in and watching movies and like seeing what other people think and their breakdowns and theories. I think it's super fun. So we'll kind of see what's going on with that. And but by the way, let's kind of explain what happens at the end. So we've touched on it a couple of times.
I don't even know if I know.
Yeah, I'm gonna try, because basically the kid is like, fuck it, because they basically end up putting his mother down because she's so sick. He leaves his dad back in the village. He stays on the mainland because the village is like stuck out on some island that you can only get to when the tide is high. And he's like just out in the world doing his own thing. I think just going on some journey of discovery or whatever. And he's doing a voiceover. And it feels like we're doing the outro to the movie. Mm-hmm. And it feels like we're about to cut the credits at any second. And so he's getting chased down by some zombies. He looks like he's turning around. I thought it was just going to end with him doing like a perfect shot through the head, and then we're just going to cut. And then maybe the next movie just picks up with him being like 16 and he's just a super badass.
Yeah.
That's kind of where my mind was going. He pulls up the arrow, kills one, and some dude with grills, with a grill, hella chains, hella rings, wearing a purple jumpsuit, I think.
Full like tracksuit.
Yeah, full purple tracksuit. Jumps up on this little wall that he's run up to.
Raggedy ass blonde hair, like long blonde hair.
Yeah, clearly, looking like riffraff. And there's clearly like this man-made wall of like these stones. And he jumps up on top of him and he says, "Nice shot, little man," or whatever. "You're pretty dope, but looks like there's a lot more coming." And he's like, "Can we help you out?" And the kid's like, "Yeah." And then like 6 more people in tracksuits
and blonde wigs.
They're all wearing terrible blonde wigs,
like,
which
what?
hopefully I don't know. This weird, insane rock music starts popping off, and then it feels like we're in a Twilight movie because they're jumping off of the wall and doing backflips in slow motion and coming down with their really
ninja
weird
acrobatics.
Yeah, with really weird weapons like a hoe and like these giant nunchucks that are like each arm of it is like 3 feet long, and he gets behind a zombie and saws its head off, and they do like one guy suplexes a zombie, and
one of them I thought it was like they had a spike with a square in the middle of it, so you could go through and it would stop them, and then you push through it, and I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of sick.
Yeah,
I like that.
So this insane music is happening, and this insane scene is happening, and then they kill him, and they're like, "You could come with us, let's be pals." And then the movie ends. And I'm like, what the fuck? And we just went off the rails.
That only throws back to the very first scene of the movie where you see all these children in the start.
It's a flashback to like Breakout Day.
Yeah, to like Breakout Day. All these kids get smoked except one kid starts running through the house and gets away, and his mom or dad, or he finds his dad at the church, who's obviously the priest, and he gives him his cross necklace, and he's like, "This is judgment." I can totally see how the Revelation Judgment Day parallels would take effect in a zombie apocalypse.
Only happened in England, though.
Totally would make sense that some people would be like, "Oh, this is the day," and he like takes it as a "we're saved. I'm gonna embrace it and let them take me. You can go do what you want, but here's my necklace." He has the necklace, and you see he has the cross. So it's the kid from the beginning.
The guy in the
and he's like probably, I don't know, in his 30s now. If it's 28 years later, and that's it, though. You didn't watch him in the movie other than that first scene, and
was
now
so jarring.
You've seen him come back with his ninja tracksuit lackeys and all in wigs with crazy weapons, and now the kid's with them.
And that's the end of the
That's
movie.
it.
So who knows what the fuck the next movie is going to be. He's going to be grown up, and he's going to be wearing a tracksuit with
It comes out of absolutely no... Like,
it's a little more jarring movie.
You're going to see other zombies get smoked, but the whole time that's happening, it's, like, really tense. The music is not, like, rock and roll, like, hype music. It's, like, tense, scary music.
Yeah.
And it's, like, all bow and arrows and, like... very tactical, like you got to make your shot count. We need to I like how they show the dad and him. They have like the system of the kid's kind of bad at it,
heavy exposition,
but like trying to run like away, and he's like, we got to cover each other. So you do a 2-man system of like one guy shoots, and then kind of while the other guy's shooting, the next guy better be prepping for that next shot, and it's kind of like back and forth a little bit while you're moving. It's like you'd figure out some ways to do it. I just like seeing some of those details.
It's cool because the gunmen do it too. The Swedish guys, they do it too.
It's dope. And that obvious, like, to me, it's always funny when people with the guns get smoked by zombies. I'm like, just hit your shots. You get the people with the arrows are figuring it out. You got to figure it out with the guns.
Yeah.
And they all get smoked in a weird area. Is that like the wall area of the quarantine zone or something?
No, there's no wall or anything because all that happened. It's just. I guess it's just the British island.
It's straight up on the it's the island of UK itself. So it's like. That's why they have all the boats that are just patrolling and whatnot.
Exactly.
But he said he was on a boat and they got sunk. They took a boat and they happened to end up there. And they're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah.
That would suck.
We didn't talk about the Mortal Kombats. The Alpha always rips people's heads out with their spine.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. He does it like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, you get some gnarly just full pull out.
Finish him.
It's just a grab of the head, and then the spinal cord's coming with, and he is going to rip you to shreds.
And then he'll beat you with his fucking
Dongosaurus. Kid is good at outrunning him, of course.
Yeah.
Very good.
Of course.
Even in straight lines through the train.
This giant superhuman fucking unit.
The kid's arrows definitely do a lot lot more damage than everyone else's.
Yeah, they're a bit more stronger. He's got a bit of attack bonus and some enchantments.
Poison tipped arrows or something.
Yeah.
He's got
this is stupid nitpicky bullshit. I did not like that. He just shoots him with morphine and then he freezes. I was like, so this guy can take 12 arrows, but one little tube of morphine, the same thing you shoot the kid with. This stops the super raged out giant. Unless he would have said that he has more potent.
I don't know. Yeah, like you tell me the dosage.
Yeah, give me the dosage. That's all I need.
The same amounts would not equate to the kid. A 12-year-old. Because
the kid doesn't even get knocked out.
No, he's just kind of like
gets sleepy.
Which also it was funny where you're like, oh yeah, leave the drugged out heroin kid with the baby.
Yeah. We don't even need to explain that. Like, just go see it. But yeah, I was like, that's a weird move. Yeah,
there was a lot of that part got very trippy at the end, but it was also very like supposed to be sentimental with the going away of like the.
It didn't hit for me for some reason. It didn't hit for me at all.
I find it interesting that so they find out in the moment when they finally do meet the doctor, he can't like do an official diagnosis, but based on what he does, and he like checks her breasts, and he's like, "You have breast cancer, and it's terminal." Like I know it is basically,
it's clearly
and it's either spread from your brain to your body or your body to your brain.
Yeah,
not sure,
bleeding,
but it's metastasized. Ooh, big word. Might have got that right. I just wanted to say it and see if I could. But
what is it?
I don't know. Oh. He said that in the movie.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I just like the
I
word.
don't even remember.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, that's.
I feel like I've heard of that.
That doctor word. I don't know that, but cool. Yeah. But I find it interesting that he's like, right after that moment of she said she basically knew. The doctor quickly knew. That makes me assume the dad knew. Everyone knew, and she's like, I should have told you. And then that's the moment where they're like, and now she's dead.
Yeah.
Now let's kill her. And everybody's it's like, wait, whoa. We don't know how terminally ill she is. Like, she could have time, and if the kid wants time, let him have time.
Yeah, but but you gotta imagine if she's in that mental state and it's just living in anxiety and not having a clear mental, like, you're like, I want
in
this.
The end.
Like, he's gonna fight it, but I want this.
And you're right.
That's why he tells him to shoot him.
And she literally, and he's like, is it gonna hurt when she dies? And she's like, I've been in pain.
It's already
sucks. Like it already hurts.
Yeah, and they say that.
That was the moment I should have caught on where it's like, okay, yeah, she's choosing now, and clearly, and she definitely gave the go ahead to like sedate the kid so that she could do it. But it's her choice to like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, and
this sucks.
And it's fucked up.
Yeah,
it's fucked up.
But they do a good job of like. Well, I guess, I don't know, you don't see him till the end, but Voldemort's character is, like, he's an interesting character. Like,
weird.
I kind of dig the vibe he was given and how he's just, like, he is kind of just, like, a weirdo who happens to have an optimistic look. He's trying to. And, like, everyone else is so just in the weeds, I feel like, of life in this life.
He's just circle of life and everything.
He's just trying his best to be like, you know what, yeah, it sucks, all this sucks, but I'm going to do my best to, like, remember why we exist, trying to, like, he's just a nice guy. He's literally, like, just...
Still insane.
He's crazy, but he's the nicest...
He tries to say he's not insane. He's still insane.
But he is the nicest dude in the movie.
Yes.
Hands down, I'd say. Like, he is just kind of like, hey, I'm here to help. I'll do my best. He does take on more of a, like... I don't... What's the person I'm looking for? Like, the Death's Boatman guy. I can't even think of it. Charon? Either way.
I have no idea what you're saying.
Yeah, like...
I don't know what...
Just the messenger of death kind of a thing, where he's just there to send you on to the next life.
Yeah.
Like, that is who he embodies, is that character or person. But I think it was still kind of cool. It was very, like we said, like, trippy, along with the drug-inducing stuff already.
Yeah.
And then, like, crazy shots of...
spinning
fire.
This movie tries real hard to be very artsy fartsy with its camera shots and like and the unique things that it does, which the original ones do too. But I don't know. Does something feels different about it in 2025? I don't know.
Things just look different at times. Like the quality level of certain things has gotten so high where at times it looks weird. I don't know. Like, I've watched a recent trailer for the new season of Always Sunny, and Always Sunny back in the day,
I know.
It's like it has a look where you're like, you can tell the first season's like super low budget, and then they get some money and they just figure out like better lighting and like it looks good and it stays for a while. Then in the new seasons, they definitely hit this era of like really high quality cameras that just at times does feel weird. Where I'm like,
they're still coming out with those?
Yeah, the new season's out this next month.
Nice.
Season 17.
I always needed to actually, Jesus Christ, I need to actually dive in and watch those. I've watched probably 5 or 6 seasons.
I will say it is noticeable at times where I'm like, I kind of miss the old look, like the shitty look of just them in the bar.
It works.
Like, you just doing their thing.
You should really at least watch the first one then, because I think you would like that movie a lot.
I probably would.
That movie's very artsy and unique and special, and clearly there's a reason why it was so successful.
Yeah. How long ago was that made?
2000. So the second one was 2007. I think.
Was it 2002?
Yeah.
That's the date it was in the movie. Like the start.
Yeah.
That's the breakout year, so that would make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it came out in 2002. It was. Yeah, let's just do. We'll outro here. I don't think you didn't watch anything else or nothing else you want to talk about, right? We could just.
No, if I did, it'd be a lot on just a TV show. But
we could talk a little bit about that next week. I want to try if we can do a similar thing, and we can go earlier, we can go later, we can do it a different day if you want, other than Wednesdays and Tuesdays, because those are the days I work till 8. But we could go see the F1 movie because I want to see that movie too.
Yeah.
Same director as Top Gun Maverick. I think it's supposed to be cinematically pretty fucking sick. So it should just be a fun action movie. Brad Pitt, let's ride.
Yeah.
So we could try to do that next week. So look forward to seeing that for next week. If you got any recommendations of TV shows or movies, let me know because I'm always open to stuff, even though I got my list. But any newer things that I might not know about that are coming out, stuff like that. We didn't go see Ballerina, which I wanted to do. Still can, I guess. But that'll be a good theater movie. And from what everybody says, it's another John Wick movie. It's dope.
That's what I felt like.
If
you're going to that thinking it's just another John Wick with a girl there.
Exactly.
Straight up.
The same with How to Train Your Dragon. You know exactly what you're getting when you're going and watch it. You're like, it's going to be good.
Yeah, and Ana de Armas is sweet.
Yeah. So we'll plan to do that next week. I thought the movie was pretty good. I'm very interested to see what these sequels are going to be with the jumpsuit guys and what the hell's happening.
I'm trying to think. I don't even think I gave it a score, but it'd probably be in like the 7 to 8 range. Yeah. I don't even know if I want to say 7.5. I might just say 7.
Yeah.
God, that's such a fake score.
It is. It's all nonsense. It's fun to do. I don't know why I like it. It's fun to do even though they're such nonsense, but like it's funny actually that you say 7 and we have them ranked about the same.
I have Letterboxd. Like I should be using that more to keep track of this shit because I've been watching movies a lot more and stuff, and I could just do that on there.
I've been doing it. I gave How to Train Your Dragon a 4 out of 5.
Oh
yeah, or what? No, 4.5. Oh, which is a 9. Yeah, which is a 9 because you can't give a 9.5 technically. It's funny that you gave the same score as this. I mean, we're not like super far apart or anything, but it's funny that you gave me the same score because we're like, I feel like I talked a little bit lower and you talked a little bit higher, but at the end of the day, we're kind of at the same.
Yeah, because it's
interesting how that works.
I do think you have to treat it a little different. Like I treat movies differently. Like this isn't like, I don't know, Forrest Gump, where you're gonna have some like intense,
which is what I thought it would be.
Like emotionally like draining, like super transformative. You think about life differently. Like no, you're just gonna get a zombie movie.
Not a Schindler's List.
Yeah, it's nothing transformative. You're just getting some cool zombie stuff. I think it's cool to watch like the details of how these people live in the quarantine zone, which you're getting.
Yeah.
And then there's some crazy shit that happens in the midst of all of it with pregnant zombies,
it's weird shit,
ninjas at the end,
Dongosaurus Rex.
I really do think the first act of like the father-son going out is probably my favorite part. Like
I did too. And
I thought that was super well done.
Yeah, that's why it was weird when because it felt like kind of a different movie, not just a second act when we went to just this kid and the mom. Because then Aaron Taylor Johnson basically isn't in the movie.
Yeah, he definitely he disappears.
He runs out into the water. That's it.
He disappears until the very last moment, which is like 5 seconds.
That's what I'm talking about. It feels like a different movie.
Yeah, but that
last
there's definitely the first part of the movie where it's just the kid and the dad going out to the mainland for the kid's first time, where you're getting a real like the kid's scared. You're kind of
exposition.
You're looking at it through his eyes, so the dad's having to help explain things of how to live and survive if you were to be out here, how to be smart and tactical.
But also the dad's kind of psycho because he's like laughing and he gets excited when
he's
things are all fucked up. He's like
pretty crazy because and he like totally bullshits about his kid being some great hero and stuff just because he's kind of he's getting off on ego. Yeah, he's getting off on the fact that his kid's the savior.
Puss.
Yeah, exactly. He gets to fucking go to get some fucking No, I'm not finishing that. But either way,
you're trying to find an avenue to go down.
I had
right
one,
there,
and I'm not going to say it because as soon as I do, I'm going to be like, "There's no reason to say that," so I'm not going to say it.
I didn't need to go that far. That's hilarious. Let's end with that. Thank you for that, Cody. We already kind of did the outro before, but thanks for tuning in, everybody. Like and subscribe. Let us know what you thought about the movie and what we should watch, anything like that. And with that being said, have a good rest of your day. Bye bye.